Welcome back to part 8. Can you believe it's been 8 of these already?
What?
Yeah. So, I have your painting covered, and I didn't let her peek before the camera came on, because I put the flesh tone on it. And I know from experience that can be a pretty jarring color change. I had to do it ahead of time so that it was stiffened up enough for us to work on it today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very orange. Do you want to go ahead and uncover it?
It's really fun.
Yeah. Would you maybe have freaked out a little bit if you walked in and saw it like that without a warning? Yeah. Okay, so it's not going to stay that vibrant. But this is the flesh tone that goes on top of the underpainting that we've been doing. And now what we'll be doing is refining it. So it is not the objective to repaint everything on top of this. The objective is to leave it alone as much as possible, to use as much of what's underneath in the underpainting as we can. It's very much a less is more approach. It's very much restraining yourself, holding back. Another thing I'll point out, with the flesh tint, so this is kind of the color of the flesh tint, I added extra color in the lips, tip of the nose, the cheeks, and the lobes of the ears.
Really?
Because all those spots have blood vessels closer to the surface, and that's why they get more colorful, that's why they're redder. So I just, I added a little bit more there. But now would be the time. See, this is where my use of the range of browns really comes into its own. Pulling the flesh tint, my brush is pulling the flesh tint off of the canvas as much as it's putting down paint, and that can get out of control real fast. I added the flesh tint 2 days ago, and clearly it still wasn't long enough. I don't even want to keep messing with mine if this is how it's behaving, so it's up to you, but I'm not sure I would encourage you to work on yours today. Maybe we just wait until Thursday. This can turn into a right mess real fast. That's what I call a painting fighting me. I don't want to fight a painting. I want to keep you set up for a happy experience and results you're pleased with. And not give you a fight you're not prepared for, because again, I don't want to keep fighting mine. It's too soft yet. Okay, so welcome back to part 8.2, or 8.1, however they do that. So, yeah, in the edit, it'll just be a moment, but last time you were here, the flesh tints were not stiff enough to paint on top of without pulling off the flesh tint. And so it's just going to be this frustrating tug of war. Now what I have, I'll give you some of this too when you're ready to carry on with yours. But I've laid out kind of my method of using browns, and this is really what I do. I don't use all of these on the flesh tint or finishing off a portrait and finalizing the flesh colors, but you can use any of these. But this shows kind of the range, the variety of browns. So we've got sepia, which is I think probably the darkest, and it's quite opaque, and it's a very cool brown. Then next to it we've got Van Dyke, which is just about as dark, but it's more chocolatey. It's got a little bit more red in it, and it's slightly more transparent. Next to that we've got Burnt Umber, which is also still very dark, but a lot more transparent and a lot warmer, a lot more chocolatey reddish. Then next to that we've got Raw Umber, which is slightly lighter, fairly transparent, and a lot more yellowish. Then we've got Burnt Sienna, which is somewhat transparent, a lot lighter, and very, very red, or reddish. Then next to it is Raw Sienna, which is quite transparent and very yellow. It's a lot lighter. Next to that, we've got Yellow Ochre, which is even more yellow, slightly less transparent, or right around the same. When I'm doing gold effects, like gold braid on a military uniform or something, I'll either use Raw Sienna, Naples Yellow and White, or Yellow Ochre, Naples Yellow and White. Or if I've got gold braid embroidery and brass buttons on a uniform, I'll use one combination for one and the other combination for the other, so they're not exactly the same gold, but I'm nerdy that way. So next to that we've got Naples Yellow, which is a very pale buttery yellow, somewhat transparent. It's a little more opaque than transparent. And I've got two whites. So we've got this is an Old Holland mixture called mixed white, and it's a mixture of titanium white and zinc white. And it's a very soft white, meaning that the texture of the paint, it's more soft than stiff. And next to it is what Old Holland calls Kremnitz white, which is much more opaque and stiffer. It's the closest that we can still get to lead white, which is the whitest white pigment, but lead. They took it out of everything. Kremnitz is about as close as we get. So at the very end, like that fat Renaissance highlight on the tip of the nose, I would do that with Kremnitz white. As I'm working up in the colors, I use mixed white because it'll spread easier and it will be a little bit more transparent. It mixes with the others very nicely. But when I want that fat, crunchy white, like you see on Rembrandt paintings. So again, I don't use all of these colors every single time, but I have used all of these colors for this purpose. Bye.